Good evening, folks. It is Sunday, and we are back in with some minor league esports action, sponsored by APM Music. Starting off, the action is going to get hot and harder with the Tyrants versus Pandas and Master League. But tonight, I'm going to keep you nice and cool. My name is Ice Cold Brew. I'll be your host for the evening. And joining me in the commentary booth is the man full of knowledge and facts and data, knows everything about the field. We have Nigel Thornbrake joining us this evening. How you doing, Nigel?
I'm doing great. It's always great to be here. Sunday, just loving to be here on the mainstream, and definitely here to have a look at this great series we're expecting here between the Tyrants and the Pandas. Right, so the Tyrants coming out 5th seed in the conference is an Orange Conference matchup, winning record right now 15-10, playing their big roster, particularly starring Mr. Hecto Chip, who is just inches away from being sent up to PL. We'll see whether he has an impact on that this time around here tonight in the match. Against the Pandas, they're in the 12th seed, and 11-14 overall so far on the season. Not quite the start they wanted, but there's always another opportunity here this week, and we'll see. They'll try to take a couple off of the Tyrants.
Yeah, we're at that halfway mark right now. This is match 6. We have about 4 more weeks left to go. 6 weeks if we count bye weeks to wrap up the season before we hit playoffs. So we have plenty of time between now and then. I think the Pandas can come back. Right now they're off on an 11-14 record, and they put some of their strongest players in for this match too, expecting the Tyrants to do the same, and which they have, with Hecto Chip almost being ranked out to PL, along Big Q, who's a 17 salary, and Red Nova Ultimate is coming in at the 16 sal spot, right at the underdog a little bit, just to keep everything a little bit more balanced, while the Pandas are running with a 17, a 16, and I believe another 16-5 as well with Syrup.
Right, so we do see a little bit of a salary advantage from the Tyrants here. Of course, as everybody knows, salary doesn't tell the entire story, and the higher salary team, while they do tend to have a better probability of winning, that's not always how it goes, and you can't really trust that if you're going to be trying to make your predictions.
Yeah, absolutely. But one thing we can look forward to is the Tyrants having a bit stronger of a sprocket rating as well too. Higher output on offense, higher output on defense, while the Pandas a little underproductive, at least in match wise. We have Syrup with the highest salary rating being the MVP at 49% on sprocket rating overall. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes as we get into the first match here. Starting off with that kickoff, we have Mocha taking the ball, but Hecto Chip sends it off to the back wall there. Double commit from the Tyrants just to start us off and send that ball off into the corner by the Pandas.
It looks like a little bit of screen jitters, which is pretty common. We see this a lot. We see every week folks just settling into the whole routine, recognizing that they're on stream, all their friends are watching and rooting for them, and they're trying to put on a good performance. And sometimes it takes them a minute, sometimes it takes them a game or two to get settled in and let those nerves go. But the Tyrants, they're looking to kind of start to settle in. Their Hecto with a great shot that just goes wide and hits the post there. The Tyrants putting on some pressure early.
Yeah, high pressure coming in. Q being the only man back, but we saw Nova and Hecto Chip just on top of that ball right in front of the net. But now Pandas looking for some offensive momentum, trying to put that pressure back onto the Tyrants. Unfortunately, Q gets a touch on that ball, but gets demoed by Syrup. Now Mocha soaring through the air, taking it from back to the Tyrant side. Unfortunately, cannot contest as that ball's still flying through the air. Hecto Chip jumps up for it, gets 50 by Syrup. Q tries to follow up, now has to get a save, sends it off the backboard, prevents that shot for the Pandas, but now Syrup might be able to get it around to the net, and Nova is there to save the day.
What an excellent mechanical play from Q to go over the shoulder, way towards his backboard, and to get just the right touch on it to keep it out. But the Pandas keep the pressure on, catch the Tyrants with a sloppy rotation on defense, and take the first goal of the match.
Yeah, we saw Q spawn back in, and Hecto was coming in from the half court. None of them were able to get there in time. Smart play between Syrup and Woozle. They're putting that ball on the backboard and just giving Woozle plenty of time to jump up and send it down. Now Tyrants looking to answer back, try to get another play going. Q tries to center. Hecto Chip comes in, but gets blocked by essentially the entire back line of the Pandas, but Woozle gets credited for that save. Ball coming off the backboard, comes in. Q and Hecto Chip meeting with the minds there, sends the ball back to Nova just to slow it down a little bit, but that might work to their disadvantage as Syrup takes that ball down, sends it forward. Pandas have a chance here. Nova has to get a touch on it, sends it back into the corner, and it's now fighting for boost as Smoka sends it downfield.
Honestly, that was just an excellent play by Syrup. Zero boost there coming down from the wall to force a 50 and to take as good of a 50 as he got there. And it's kind of a shame to see that nobody else on the Pandas was there to react to it. I don't think any of them were really expecting that play to go as well, or that 50 to go as well in their favor as it did.
And we see the first and I believe second demo immediately. Smoka and Q just getting involved and taking people out as soon as they can. Now Q looking to get the ball right into the net, but not enough power behind that tight angle as well. Syrup gets that save. But we have Mocha taking this ball up the corner. Nova goes in for a demo, misses it, but Q dunks it off, sends it to the corner. Good pop from Syrup. Brings that ball over to Hecto, who tries to get another touch on it. Nova tries to center it for his teammates, but cannot get there in time. Ball flying right past him, back into that corner.
Yeah, and so far, what we're seeing out of the Tyrants is a lot of good mechanical plays, a lot of good individual plays, but we're not really seeing a cohesive story from them as far as playing together as an entire unit. And that could just be a little bit of getting settled into the match. It could be a little bit of getting settled into what sort of looks the Pandas are giving them. But hopefully they remedy that soon, because right now it's making their offense pretty ineffective.
Yeah, the offense is looking a little bit sloppy. I liking what the Pandas are doing more, and they're making the right plays, especially contesting with those 50s. But more importantly, the reason they got that point was because they actively looked for each other. With, I believe that it was Syrup with that pass off the backboard, sends it right back to Woozle, gets that point. Now we have Mocha getting a demo on the top man, Hecto, sends him off back to respawn, spawns back in, gets that touch. Unfortunately, no one's able to gather that ball, so Pandas maintaining possession, keep it in the corner. Q comes out for it, sends it across the field. Mocha chasing after it, no boost, but good pinch. Sends it over to Woozle. Hecto pops it up high, but Syrup put it back into the net. No, Hector gets another save.
And that, I think, was just an unfortunate touch from Syrup there. And the Tyrants will absolutely take advantage of the opening there caused on the breakaway, the counterattack. And even up 1-1 here with 42 seconds left in match one.
Yeah. Fantastic pass up from Hector, justifying Q. And Q, seeing that opening, seeing how bunched together the Pandas were on that defensive rotation, took advantage of it and put a nice little power shot right into the middle of the net. And now we need the Pandas to find another answer, or else we're going to be looking at an overtime with 30 seconds coming down the clock. Maybe Mocha is able to get double tap. No, sends it off the post and it pops up high. Woozle soaring through the air. Over to Syrup. Sends it off to the corner. Back to Tyrants. Q gets a touch. Centers it. Seeing a bit of a misrotation from the Pandas there, both rotating on top of each other in that moment. Maybe Woozle can find the back of the net. No. It's denied by Hector Chip as that ball's in the corner. Soaring, flying through the air, over to the corner once more from the Pandas defense. Q looking to get another touch, trying to drop it down, and we go into overtime.
Honestly, the smart play there from both teams. The Tyrants had a little bit of pressure, but honestly not much they could do with it. And the Pandas knew that their best bet was just to let it drop, get to overtime, get a fresh look on the ball.
Yeah. Which is honestly what's probably going to work in their favor, is just trying to force the Tyrants into a mistake. But that ball went off the backboard, and Red Nova Ultimate not able to make that connection. Ball bounces right over him. So now Q hooks it around, pops it up high. Woozle contests, gets a 50, but Nova looking for redemption. Doesn't put enough power behind it. It goes down right in front of Mocha. And now Hecto just rotating back, looking for a defensive pressure to pay off here. Waiting for the Pandas to make their next mistake and get a point in their favor for this first game.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing the Tyrants now finally starting to settle into what looks like a rotation on offense, although it's still not really ever rotating. But they're definitely having some success applying more pressure on the Pandas defense here. And the Pandas are responding, but you can definitely see that they're bending a bit under the pressure. The question at the moment is who will break first.
Honestly, I expect that Red Nova's going to find his time to shine in this match soon. He keeps trying to find an opportunity. He gets denied possession or he gets denied a shot, but I think he's going to be the difference maker in this goal. But maybe Q's just going to take it off the corner. Pass from Hector Chip, finds that center and sends it right in with all the Pandas just kind of clumping around the ball there for a second.
It looks like a miscommunication here between Smoka and Syrup. Syrup tries to half flip to get in front and meet the ball in the corner. Smoka doesn't think that that's going to happen. It goes to meet the ball in the corner as well. Finds himself out of position with a double commit there. And then nobody's on the back post there in time to meet the pass going in front. Q puts it away. And so the Tyrants take game one after finally settling down and getting their offense moving there in the second half of that game. The Pandas now had to go in search of an answer. They had to find what happened there. Was it simply just that their default rotation that they were going with at the beginning of the game was enough to beat the Tyrants being out of sorts? Or did something change on their end? I think that it was more the former than the latter. I think that really the Pandas were doing a reasonable job of having a rotation and playing well together as a team. They weren't getting the touches that they really were at the beginning of the game. They weren't controlling the 50s. They weren't controlling possession of the ball, and the Tyrants started to take advantage of that towards the end of the game.
Yeah, and they kind of anticipate those 50s a lot more often and reacted a lot quicker. Even with the Pandas taking that first goal, I think the Tyrants did a fantastic job of adjusting in the middle of a match and recovering very quickly. Hector, Chip, and Q especially working in tandem, working off each other. With Hector, no goals on his record, but 5 shots, 2 assists coming out of him, just really making sure the team can make their presence known and setting up Q or Red Nova, whoever on his side of the field, on his franchise, can be there for the ball. But now we're on to the second game. What do you think the Pandas should do? Because they seem to me, they seem to kind of fall under the pressure and just crack a bit too much to get a little bit overexcited during rotations.
So for me, what I saw in the first game out of the Pandas was a lot of creativity from the first man. Like as we see Hector here trying to do a little bit of the same. We saw a lot of touches being taken to the sky, a lot of ways, just looking for creative ways to get through, get some ball advancement down the field, and get the rotation set up. Because when the Pandas do get established in an offensive rotation, Tyrants have a tough time keeping up with that pressure. But what we saw midway through the game where the Tyrants adjusted was they started to play faster, and they started to not give space to that one man. And so if you're the Pandas, you need to maybe simplify, maybe look for less creative ways, but faster ways to get the ball down the field and get established with that rotation on offense.
I'd agree with that. We almost saw a very, very close goal there from the Pandas. Just a nice soft touch, forcing the defender to pop that ball up high, but unfortunately gets denied. So now we have Woozle in that corner, sends it out. Syrup trying to keep that ball on the Tyrant side of the field. Red Nova sends it, bounces it a little bit too hard off the side. Woozle tries to follow up, but Hector's already on top of it. Now Mocha coming in, sends it off the backboard, but gets deflected by Q. Now Woozle, plenty of space right now, booms it up the field, tries to meet Smoka, who tries to get another touch on it. Woozle also meets with him and sends it right down. What a play.
This is just so pretty to watch. This is an excellent pass. Woozle goes up, gets the backboard read. Nothing that Nova can do there sitting in the goal line. 1-0 Pandas, 3:44 left in game 2.
And I do have to say, something I really do love watching high-level gameplay, especially for threes, is the amount of trust on the field of just when you put the ball up and you tell your teammate will get up there, you just have to trust that they will be there. Granted, it was a bit of a double commit from the Panda side, but the fact that Woozle still was able to get up there, bring that ball down, and Smoka was there just to help out just in case was something very pleasant to my eyes. As Syrup takes that 50, Q up in the air, still challenging. Ball brought down. Woozle looking at another touch, but Hector Chip comes in from the side and booms it away. Mocha gets pounces it up to the backboard and finds a goal, ties it up. Brings it 2-0 now. Gets his own goal after that assist to Woozle earlier.
And that's really just an excellent heads-up play by Syrup there. Smoka kind of a little bit, overcommitted on this, and the Tyrants had already assumed that the transition was happening. They were looking for that quick counterattack like they got in game 1. Smoka there, though, cheating. Syrup got the ball to him and just got it over the last defender, and there wasn't really anything the Tyrants could do because they'd already committed so hard to the counterattack.
And that play was so smooth, folks. And don't forget the smooth taste of balls, Guarana. Hit !POTW in the chat to submit that clip for Play of the Week in order to get a chance to win a case of balls. As Woozle comes in, takes that 50, and Q with the save off the post, sends it downfield. That ball left in the center, floating around. Hector is able to get a touch on it. Nova puts it on the net off the crossbar. Can Q find the back of that? No, also finds the crossbar. Syrup 50s Nova. Woozle, I don't think he has a lot of boost in the tank right now as Hector is able to challenge, gets it over. It's flying over the net. Syrup not able to get that touch. Tyrants just fighting for a goal now, looking for some life as Woozle tries to put her on, and Q gets a deflection up onto the backboard. To his chagrin, that ball goes in, though, from the help by Syrup.
I mean, really, this is a miscommunication here. We see originally on that shot where Hecto kind of cuts off Red Nova, where Nova's about to put a shot on. The Pandas miss defensive touch after defensive touch after defensive touch here. You think Tyrants have overwhelming pressure. Everybody on that field is thinking the Tyrants are going to score here. And the Tyrants end up with a big overcommit, send the ball away. Pandas get a quick counterattack, a quick boom down the field, and really there's nothing Q can do there because it's a 2v1.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mental reset too. If you were the Titans, you're thinking we should have had that goal there, we should have had that other goal there, and then you start putting more and more pressure, and then you end up with a double commit or a missed rotation, and now you have one man back fighting against two very talented players. Q with a fantastic save from the shot by Woozle, taking it up and pitching it off the crossbar. But now Syrup looking for another touch there, gets deflected, sent back to the corner, back to Woozle. Sends it forward. It's going to get another touch. Try to get it around the defender, but cannot find a way as it gets 50. Just Tyrants keeping it on that corner as they try to reset for a push.
See Hecto there again with trying to get a counterattack, but tries to force it in there and not much doing. I think that was Syrup that was already back. An easy 50 on the goal line to kick it back out.
And now Smoka tries to get a challenge on that, but unfortunately Tyrants all over it. Nova sends it up, sends it back to his friend in the corner, but that ball is still on their side. Mocha finds a shot, but Q gets a save here. We're looking at the Pandas coming alive in this match right now, just trusting each other, building each other off of chemistry. Everyone's participated in a goal, and everyone's gotten a goal as well, too. 100% goal participation across the entire team right now, as we're at the 45-second mark in this match.
That's pretty impressive of a stat line. Honestly, for me, what it looks like is that the Pandas have really settled into the match like we keep talking about here. You know, we're on stream. This is a reasonably important match, especially for the Pandas to try to get back into a winning record on the season. And it seems to me like they're just playing a lot more freely. Like they're not letting missed touches on defense get to them, partly because the Tyrants aren't punishing them. But they're not letting whiffs on offense get to them either, where it seems like every time you see the Tyrants go for a big touch, and it doesn't go their way. It really is getting into their heads at the moment.
Yeah, and now we see Hectochip trying to get at least one goal in for the Tyrants just to get themselves set up for the next match. But unfortunately, that ball's going to ground. Smoka coming in for that save. And we see a 3-0 from the Pandas, complete reverse of how we saw the first game.
Really is, yeah. The first game was close, right? We went into overtime, the Tyrants took it, but now the Pandas answer back. So we're 1-1 on the series, but the Pandas really kind of dominating that second game. And like we said there at the end, I think for me, the thing that I'm noticing the most is the Pandas seem to have really settled in, and they seem to be playing very freely. They're not stressing. They're not forcing touches. They're sometimes double committing, but they're managing to stay flexible and getting back in time. Whereas the Tyrants, it's the exact opposite story. It seems like Hecto is really trying to force the ball through the defense, over the defense, trying to get it through the defender into the net. And the Tyrants really seem like they're counting on every touch to go their way, and it's not always happening. So at this point, I think if you're the Tyrants, you have to kind of stop, take a breath, and say, what are we doing wrong, right? Because that was a completely different story than game one. What are we going to do to turn it around here? And if I'm in that conversation, I'm telling them, focus on your 50s, right? Slow it down and just try to control the little bits of the game that you can and not try to do too much.
Yeah. And again, just to shout the Pandas, one thing that was very impressive, I don't know if folks saw this at the end, ones across goals, assists, and saves as well, too, just all matching each other. But yeah, you can see the chemistry from the Pandas. They felt very comfortable with each other. They all trust each other. Granted, there's one shot that I think Woozle denied, I believe, Syrup off the wall, off a flip reset, because that ball was rolling in, but he wanted to help out. Ended up sending it to the post instead. But now my question for the Tyrants, too, is, you know, if you're trying to force that ball into the net when there's a defender, maybe slow it down a little bit, give yourself a little bit more time to adjust, have a chance to rotate through and get a block. But that ball's rolling in. Woozle sends it down, and Smoka comes flying in to get that insurance of that first goal. But honestly, Woozle,
this is
very
absolutely
impressive.
Just a double commit from the Tyrants on offense, well before Q got there and got stuck in the 2v1. Double commit from Hecto and Nova. That opens that up, but of course Woozle does a great job to put it down for his teammates to put away.
Yeah, and again, it's just chemistry, it's trust, and also a little bit of antsiness coming from the Tyrants. I think they're feeling the pressure, but Hecto takes that goal right back, pass off the side from Q, makes a nice easy shot, putting it right between all the defenders right now.
Absolutely, and this is just a great play from the Tyrants, and this is the kind of stuff that we know they're capable of. We know that this team can play fast, and then when they don't force things, and when they let the ball drop where they need it to, the Pandas will make mistakes on defense. We saw plenty in game 2. It's just a matter of being there to capitalize on them, and if everybody's constantly diving and falling all the way back and having to play defense with the counterattack, you can't develop a lot of those opportunities.
Yeah, and right now we're seeing the Hecto Chip take possession of the ball, pops it up high. Syrup meets with Q, gets a 50 in the Tyrants' favor, though, takes it back to that corner. Hector is looking to get a pass out, right to Q, gets denied by Smoka. Now back to Woozle, takes it up the field, down to the corner. It's going to go center, but Hecto Chip denies it, sends it back up the field. Smoka's right there on top of the wall, jumps off, gets that touch, right to Red Nova. Nova looking to find his moment right now, sends it up a little bit high and right past the goal line. Just cannot find the back of the net right now. But honestly,
and
just
that was another good
example.
That was another good example of the Tyrants really rushing plays. There's no reason for Nova to take that shot there. He's got all the pressure in the world. Slow it down, make a pass, right? Instead, he kind of throws the ball away over the center of the net, over the crossbar, over to the other corner.
Yeah. And then we have another example there where Nova and I believe that was Hecto Chip both jumping for that ball with a double commit when we can just stay down on the ground, get ready for that pass to each other. Right now we're seeing a lot of chemistry from Hecto Chip and Q. And now Nova is able to get involved. Good pass off the side, sends it right to Hecto, who can pocket it right in that top right corner.
And this is exactly what I was talking about. Q playing really smart here. Instead of trying to force the ball through the defenders that are sitting in the center, waiting for the ball to come there, he makes a smart choice, punts it off to the center, or to the corner, excuse me. Nova also does the same thing and says, oh, I don't have a shot here, let me bounce it and see if somebody else can come up with it. And Hecto there, really playing patient as the third man, finds a way to slot it in.
I think it's just trust and rotations and knowing where your teammates are expecting to be. Almost a double commit there from the Tyrants as Woozle takes this ball up to the corner, tries to pinch it towards the center. Syrup tries to find it, gets denied by Hecto Chip, but that ball's still going towards the net. It's denied, up in the corner, popped up high. Tyrants with a chance for a breakaway. Nova just needs to get it around. Syrup gets blocked up on the crossbar. Woozle gets a save. Demo by Smoka on Hecto Chip, but On's back in just in time. But yeah, no, I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Tyrants so far. A lot more trust, a lot more passing plays working in their favor as well, too.
Yeah, it definitely seems to me like they're starting to realize that they can sort of pepper the backboard, make their touches, and just keep the rotation going and trying to find a way to break down the Pandas' defense. And that's really the first time this entire series that we've seen that come out from the Tyrants. It's working well for them, and I expect that if they continue to do this, well, aside from giving up the occasional long bomb counterattack, it's going to work pretty well for them.
You know, it was one of those deceptively high ones because I'm watching from Hecto Chip's angle, and it looked like it was going to hit the crossbar and maybe bounce out from there, but no, just perfect angle, drops right in like a teardrop. 2-2 now, 2 minutes left to go in this match, and Red Nova booms that ball forward, tries to get another touch off it. That's centered. Hecto Chip just needs to find the shot, and does. Puts it right underneath the crossbar and bring that lead right back up to the Tyrants.
And this is the kind of thing I was talking about earlier where I say that Pandas will make mistakes on defense. They've shown it all throughout this series, and that's just, honestly, it's a touch that gets away from Syrup. Not much you can do about it. Unfortunately, I think it was Smoke who was right behind him, couldn't do anything about it, went right over his head, and Hecto just there with, again, a great bit of patience, a great read on the play, and he just puts it away. Wow! Woozle, though, comes right back and says, hey guys, don't forget about me.
I'm so impressed by this. Just flies up, immediately finds it, sees Hecto Chip on the backboard, anticipating the pass, and just flips it just enough to drop it right underneath him. And Hecto Chip can't really react in time to that play. Ties it right back up. Fantastic play from Woozle. If y'all want to put that into the play of the week as well. Smoka, that ball up the corner, back to Q. Ball centered. Nova gets a touch, booms that out forward. Now Woozle on the rotation, gets the ball back up, chasing after it. Flying through the air, tries to get another touch on, but Q sends it up high and away.
Looks like we're seeing a lot of kind of what we saw at the beginning of Game 1, where the Pandas are really taking the ball high. Again, coming back to that creativity to find ways for the first man to get through, but Hecto just absolutely buries an amazing angle right there. Hecto really is just starting to pop off, and he says, you know what, I've had about enough of this nonsense from you Pandas folks. I'm going to take this game into my own hands and show you what I can do.
Tight angle, and just knowing one defender's up too close to him and one can't make it in time, just power shots it right there from that corner, finds the net, and now also getting a save off the kickoff attempt here, but Q almost misses the touch. No Pandas around to pick it up though. Nova chasing after it, gets over one, but loses control. Woozle comes off the side, needs to slow it down a little bit, gets a pass out. Can Mocha get a touch in? No, Q's already wise to their passing game. See Woozle heading to back post, getting ready for rotation. Nova forces a 50, gets back to Hecto Chip. Hecto down, but back up to Q. Unfortunately, Syrup is not able to maintain control, and Q finds the back of the net again.
And this is just a big mistake from Syrup here, taking the ball, getting that. I think he intended to catch it, maybe take it back to the corner, not getting the catch he wanted, and having to sort of try to air dribble it right in front of his net. And Q says, no, sir. Dunks it right over his head into the net, and the Tyrants are up 5-3 now with 45 left to play in game 3.
And one thing I'm noticing from the Pandas too is they keep challenging for these 50s, and not a lot of them are going their way, or they're trying to force a play. They're doing the mistakes that the Tyrants were doing last game, and now the Tyrants are taking full advantage of it, waiting for these rotations. That's unfortunate.
This is a ping pong off of, like, I think every player in the lobby just about. Hector with a great pass. And we see Nova make a shot. Smoke almost gets it, and then Syrup says, no, actually, I'm going to dunk that back in. I'm not sure if that was going out of the net off of Smoke's touch, but either way, it ends up in the net. And 6-3 here, 28 seconds left to play.
Right now, if I was Pandas, I'd start planning my plan of attack for the next game. With 6-3, with 15 seconds left on the clock, Tyrants pretty much are going to be on match point coming into next game. But we've seen a little bit of back and forth between the last two games. I expect we will see more between the Pandas and the Tyrants. We just need to see if Woozle and Smoka and Syrup can pull it together to find what they were missing from this match and how they can counter this very offensive assisting passing play style that the Tyrants have shown in this game.
Absolutely, and it looks to me like the Tyrants really came out and they made some good adjustments. They simplified a little bit of what they were doing. They focused on winning 50s, and they focused on not outplaying themselves, really not trying to stress every touch and not trying to force every ball, and taking advantage of the mistakes that the Pandas have shown that they will make throughout the series, right? So now, if you're the Pandas, you have to make an adjustment, right? Because you just got hooked again, and it's been back and forth, but all these games have been a couple of goals difference. So at this point, if you're the Pandas, you have to make a decision. Do you go back and try to find that play style in game 2 that did really well, where you were just playing a more simplified game of threes and really focusing on winning 50s, keeping possession, keeping pressure on the team? Or do you try to open up the Tyrants defense another way, maybe by playing physical, incorporating those bumps and demos into your play style to try to throw them off of their game, throw the timing out of the rotations? And that really comes down to a playstyle preference for the Pandas. And I think they need to have that conversation, decide which one of those they want to do, and then just really go and try and execute it here in game 4 to try to keep from losing the series.
Yeah, and one thing I would advise if I was the Pandas as well is to just be aware if Hector Chip is getting ready for a shot, just to shut him down immediately. He's 4 for 5 in that match alone, 80% shot percentage. But he had 2 assists, and everyone on his team had 2 assists. Everyone was looking to actively pass to each other that entire series, that entire match for the Tyrant side. But now Smoka almost finds the back of the net there. Q has to jump up quick to get that save. Good half-court shot. Woozle, a little bit too far forward, gets passed off around him. Smoka taking this to the side. And we are here in match 4, 2-1 in favor of the Tyrants right now on Utopia Coliseum.
Excellent little pass attempt there from Smoka to Woozle. Woozle was up in time to get to it, but couldn't quite put the touch on that he wanted. Sticking around now, trying to see if the Tyrants are going to make any mistakes defensively. Gets a big bump. Woozle, though, playing a little bit too deep as the third, not able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, but Smoka's there as well. Seeing that 50, Woozle contests and slows down the ball, at least giving Smoka plenty of time to challenge it, take it to the corner, but unfortunately Tyrants were immediately on top of them. Now, Smoka with plenty of boost in the tank, flicks it over Hector. Red Nova jumps over it. Now Q has to get the block, gets it, sends it off to the side. That ball's flying over the net, though. Syrup is not able to find it, though. So Smoka takes it up. Hector Chip gets a good 50 right to the center of the field. Unfortunately, Q has to force it to the corner. Buy them some time to get this play set up. Unfortunately, Hector's already back. Flying through the air now after that touch from Syrup. That ball's heading right back down. Boomed out towards the Tyrant side off that demo from Hector Chip on Syrup.
Yeah, I'm really loving Hecto's spacing as third man in these last couple of games. He's really found the sweet spot and found a way to disrupt most of Panda's either passing lanes or booming lanes or whatever they're trying to do to get established on a counterattack or to establish the pressure. He's there, he's ready to read it, and he's ready to make a difference. And that's been a pretty crucial part of how the Tyrants have been able to kind of work this series back in their favor.
Yeah, Smoka double touch off the ceiling, tries to keep that ball alive. Q comes out for it. Now Syrup tries to find that opening, but Nova and Hector Chip both dive on it. Woozle with the save from the sniper shot from coast to coast between the pinch. Now we have a chance here for the Tyrants. Take control. Hector flick over the defender. Woozle, last man back. See the Pandas rotating back in. Woozle looking to carry it over. Loses all of the boost, though, and doesn't have any left in the tank as Smoka gets into rotation. Big bump from the Tyrants there, and a 50 from Woozle saves them from a goal.
That looked like a big whiff on a shot there from Nova for me, but it was hard to see in that perspective, so I'd have to go back and look at the replay there. Either way, the Tyrants don't come away with a goal there. Hecto tosses it over the crossbar, and looks like the Pandas will have an easy opportunity to get the counterattack going there, but kind of throwing it away again into that third man line for the Tyrants.
And just very dangerous clearing placements, too, keeping it centered right where, if not one, two Tyrants players are, making it really dangerous. Fortunately, Smoka able to maintain possession here. Now Woozle pops up a little bit high off the crossbar. Q sends it off and away off the back to the side, back to Nova. Flying through the air, looks to be trying to get a ground pinch going. Pops it up high. Nova looking for a body, cannot find Syrup in time, but that ball's still in front of the net. Hector Chip takes it off the crossbar and puts it in off the pass from Q.
Yeah, and this is honestly just a result of continuous pressure. Really, for 3 minutes and 16 seconds here, the Tyrants have had pressure on the Pandas side of the ball or side of the field. The Pandas have gotten out maybe twice or three times, but only for a few seconds at a time. They're just not able to establish anything on the Tyrant side of the field. And eventually, you're going to run out of boost. Somebody's going to make a rotational decisional error and be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And Hector Chip, again, there to read it, there to clean things up, and the Tyrants go up by one.
Now Syrup trying to get passed down to Smoka, but Smoka can't find it. Woozle dives in. Doesn't have enough boost to challenge. Ball boomed by Hector. Everyone on the Pandas was on the same side of that ball, getting involved in that 50 somehow. Tyrants just finding a way to get around. Now Hector brings it down low. Ball bounces. Q looking to get a pass. Smoka brings it back towards the Tyrant side, but Woozle on top of Red Nova. Ball heading towards the net. Unfortunately, not able to capitalize on that opportunity there for the Pandas.
It definitely looks like the Pandas realized their mistake and noticed that they really weren't able to get any sort of pressure going there for the first 3 minutes of this game, but somehow they leave it wide open, and Q with a monster 50 and just a dunk on, who is this here, on Smoka? No, it's on, I'm sorry, it's not a dunk. The original 50 was on Woozle, and it was by Hector, I think, but Q there to clean it up and just absolutely drills into the back of the net. 2-0 now for the Tyrants, 48 seconds left to play in game 4.
Great reaction time from Q, too, to see that 50 coming right towards them and just giving it enough pop to put it right over Smoka. And Pandas, sometimes you just have to kind of shrug and say it is what it is when a goal like that gets scored. But you still have plenty of time on the clock to get 2 more goals in your favor. Just got to play it right, and you got to play fast. Right now, I feel like all that momentum is switched back over to the Tyrant side as we see another missed rotation from the Pandas. They take a 3rd goal for the
Absolutely,
Tyrants.
And you hit the nail on the head here. You see Woozle going for the boost in the Tyrant's corner as this play is being set up, and it's not really that much of a counterattack. The ball was going to be on the Pandas' defensive half there, and just a couple of decisional errors there from the Pandas. And it seems like the wind is really just being dragged out of their sails at this point.
Yeah, I think winded is a good way to put it right now. Just Pandas kind of looking a little lost at the moment, trying to force something to work, but can't really find that connection we saw in game 2. and it feels like the Tyrants are just overtaking and reigning over the field right now as we wrap up match 4 here in favor of the Tyrants, and they take the series.
Yeah, and this is really just an excellent adjustment from the first couple of games from the Tyrants. We saw them playing a little sluggish. We saw them playing a little indecisive. And we saw them really not doing a good job of controlling the ball or putting the pressure on the Pandas where and when they wanted them to. And now in these last 2 games, it's been exactly the opposite story, right? So the Tyrants now are taking good 50s. They are keeping the ball in front of them. They are keeping the ball on the Pandas half of the field and putting the pressure on them and relying on the fact that, like we said, the whole series, the Pandas are going to occasionally make some mistakes rotationally, and they're going to leave some gaps in the defense. And this game in particular, the Tyrants absolutely were all over him, in particular with Hecto. He's found the magic sauce. He's found a way to get in between the Pandas defenders and get the ball into the net.
Yeah, just Hector and Q especially too. Q is able to get these fantastic reads, get the ball centered or set up so Hector can find the just little opening that the Pandas will leave behind, or sometimes just recognize that the Pandas have misrotated, made a mistake, doesn't have the angle for his own shot, but knows Hector is coming in to get that goal. And let's not count out Red Nova either. Red Nova is getting some fantastic 50s, really challenging the Pandas and shutting down a lot of their offensive pushes before they hit that half-court mark and bringing it right back in favor of the Tyrants. So he may not have big numbers on the stat sheet right now, but he's still making an impact in little ways that count towards the overall goal for the Tyrants.
Absolutely, and every good threes team needs a member who is going to be willing to fill that role, because threes, as much as it is about flashing plays, as much as it is about being there to put the ball into the net when the opportunity arises, it's a game about working in the small opportunities, winning the small things, winning a 50 here, winning a positional battle here, winning a boost there. And really, I think you make a great point. We haven't been talking about Nova as much because Hecto and Q have really been putting on a show, but he's doing the small things that are absolutely giving the Tyrants an overwhelming advantage at the moment. Although the Pandas go and strike early here in Game 5, so they're saying we're not done yet.
It's a good time. Yes, you might have lost the series, but you can still minimize the damage. You can still make sure you are in the running to get into play-ins, maybe even take division leader as well too. 2 threes are way better than a 4-1, you know. As Red Nova just that touch a little bit, sends off to the corner. Pandas smoke a bit of an awkward touch there as Hecto Chip tries to get a pass out to Q, but Q's going a little bit too fast and furious, so it goes back to Red Nova. Syrup goes in for the 50. Q takes the ball to the corner. Now we have Woozle flying through the air, tries to find an angle on it, instead sends it out too far to the corner. Q gets a demo on Syrup, shuts down any chance the Pandas have for an offensive push. But Nova, misplay there. Ball comes off the post, comes in a little bit too high. Hector Chip backflips into it, forces that ball up high, off the backboard. Saves him from another point from the Pandas.
That's just the sort of opportunity that at this level you can't miss. That hurts. Definitely hurts your chances a little bit. I mean, the Pandas maintain the lead here, but you'd much rather be up 2-0 than 1-0.
Agreed. And we have that ball rolling down into the net. Hector Chip coming in, trying to drop it in, but unfortunately it's a little too slow. Pandas getting a save. Smoka demos Red Nova, ball off the post. Tries to get a pass out. Smoka almost had a shot on, but Q jumped right on top of him. Shut that down immediately. Pandas still on the offense though. Still on the attack. Sends it a little bit too far. Syrup team bump with Smoka, just a little kiss to keep them in the game right now. But maybe the Tyrants might be looking for their own goal. Oh, Red Nova almost was able to drop that, but Smoka got right on top of it immediately.
That was an excellent bump. I'm not sure if it was from Syrup or Smoka there on Q as he was rotating in that third man position. That kind of gave an opening here, and the Pandas can escape from the pressure.
It's something I would love to see more from the Pandas. Oh, Hecto just not enough power behind that touch. Could not really send it right past Smoka, and Smoka sends it up the field now. Still challenging. Red Nova not able to get on top of it. Demos Smoka instead. Gives Tyrants plenty of time to take possession. Q playing a little bit forward. Hector sends it into the corner. Ball going to Woozle. Popped up. Nova can't make that connection. Smoka getting in the way and just running interference on the offensive play for the Tyrants right now.
It looks like the Tyrants are starting to settle into being able to keep up that pressure like we've been talking about this whole series. And the Pandas are starting to settle into what looks like their bad habits of just accepting that they're not going to win in the midfield and that they just have to play better on defense or try to escape their way out of the pressure through big booms. Um, Tyrants taking advantage of that. Although here's Woozle with another attack. Smoke following, almost gets a nutty double tap, but not able to get it past the post there.
Maybe Woozle can no, hits it off the back of his car and sends it off to the corner. Not really the touch he was expecting, I think. I think he really wanted to drop it right down from the net, but Smoka's there to fix it. Cleans it up off the pass from Syrup, gets it right past both defenders on the back line.
This really is an excellent touch from Smoka. I mean, Syrup makes an excellent pass here, but Smoka just absolutely drills it 72 miles an hour from way up top, and there's no chance any of the Tyrants are getting to that one. 2-0 now for the Pandas, a minute 27 left in game 5.
Minute 27, and Tyrants still plenty of time to bring back that offense, go for that 4-1, and now they have a breakaway chance, but Syrup comes in, zooming through the half-court line. Sends that ball to the side. Now Nova wants to try to get an air dribble going, wants to get a pass down to Q, finds the back of the net, good pass from Nova to Q, gets that first point in favor of the Tyrants.
You see Woozle here go to the ceiling for the challenge, expecting Nova to take it a little bit higher, but he doesn't, so it's a misread there. Q gets an excellent touch from the pass there. There is no hope for whichever of the other two was sitting on the goal line there to stop it.
Yeah, sometimes unless you have instant reactions. Oh my goodness, Woozle missing the touch. Syrup, fortunately, already at the goal. Shuts that down, but that was about to be another point in favor of the Tyrants. Now, Nova and Hector both going for an air dribble at the same time. Unfortunately, that looks like Syrup might be able to get a breakaway. No, a little bit too high. Hits it off the backboard. Woozle almost gets it in there, but gets dunked by the Tyrants. Now Hector looks to get an air dribble. Wants to get it down to Q, hopefully. Pinched, 50'd up high. Nova 50's off of Woozle. Back to Syrup, back to Q, actually. Syrup missing that touch. The Pandas just want to maintain this lead. They have 25 seconds left to go. But Tyrants might be able to get a goal back right now.
Well, they've shown the ability to do so time and time again throughout this series, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but they are running out of time here. 13 seconds left. Still down a goal. Pandas still have the lead 2-1. Almost taking it to 3-1 there, though not quite able to convert on the opportunity. And the clock will continue to tick down here. 0 seconds. Ball drops on the ground. Pandas take game 5. And so the overall series result 3-2 in favor of the Tyrants.
3-2 in favor of the Tyrants. Pandas, though, still putting on a very good show, especially on the end there. Able to maintain some assertiveness on the field. But Tyrants coming together in game 3 and game 4 especially, being able to hold on for that series. But fantastic work between all of them as well. And folks, I do want to remind you, thank you once again to APM Music for being our sponsors. We're going to go ahead and get ready for our next match, which is going to be Blizzards versus the Sabres in Champion League for threes. And folks, don't forget to hit !Proline in the chat to pick up your own franchise jersey as well. You can see I'm wearing the Demolition jersey, one of my favorite franchises, and not just because I'm the general manager of that team, but go there to go pick up your jerseys, your hoodies, beanies, whatever else you want. I've been Ice Cold Brew. Thank you so much. Nigel, thank you for commentating with me as well.
As always, it's been a pleasure. Definitely enjoyed the series, and we'll look to enjoy another one coming out. I'll be here once again for the next series you just mentioned there. Until then, we'll see you.
See you next time.